Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Showing Up to Life podcast and YouTube channel. My name is Art Burns, and I'm here to talk to you about something very specific today. And, well, I want to deliver something, but I'm also going to ask for something. Okay, I want to be very, very clear. I'm not looking to do some kind of bait and switch and give you this beautiful episode and at the end say, and hey, by the way, if you want to support me, I want to first talk about, so as many of you know, I've been running this podcast and YouTube channel for, it was like maybe 2 or 3 years, and then we took a bit of time off, almost a year off, and now we're back for a few months. Okay. As many of you know, back then I was doing, an episode every single Monday through Friday, every day. And it was great. I mean, I loved it. It was a labor of love, but it was something I really did love to do. And until it became something that was not something I loved to do, and that's when I had to step away from it, right? But back in at that time, sort of at the later period of that time, I started asking for support, and I put out a Patreon link and all that kind of stuff, and this gracious, wonderful, generous community was really providing support on a level that I couldn't have even imagined was going to happen, right? And I continue to be so grateful for that. And part of the, part of the getting back into this has been like, I've been struggling with a little bit of feelings of having let y'all down a little bit by stepping away from the podcast for a few months, or for actually close to a year, maybe even a year. I think it was like almost exactly in an eerie way. It was not planned that way, but I think when I look at the dates of the recordings, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like almost to the day a year went by. So I'm going to ask you for some support today. Now, it's not like, and the Patreon thing is weird, right? Because the Patreon thing is set up as though, there's going to be some stuff that I give everyone, and then there's some stuff that only the Patreon people get. I can't do that. Okay, I cannot do that. If you want to hire me as a coach, I am available here to work for you, okay? Whether that's one-on-one, we could put a group together. There's different programs I offer from time to time, and that's all well and good, right? But otherwise, everything I have is, I give it all. Like, I'm not holding anything back from anyone, right? And by no means am I going to stop doing this if I get support. Okay. And that's why I wanted to. It was like sort of for my own, for the feeling of my own authenticity and my own genuine, the genuine nature of what this is about, right? Because this is about helping you all. Okay. That's really why I do this. I don't do this for myself. I do this for you. However, I definitely get something out of it. Right. And that's what I want to talk about today. Although there's a pragmatic thing I get from it, and then there's a more deep and spiritual thing that I get out of it. And so real quick on the pragmatic thing is that, yes, I get practice, right? As I'm talking to you about all this, these wonderful topics and these wonderful practices, I am practicing. And when I then talk to a client, my communication is that much more effective. So by no means is this a one-way thing, right? I am getting something out of it, even on a pragmatic level. How much I need that is a different question, but I'm certainly getting something out of it, right? But then there's the more spiritual benefit that we get from giving, right? Now, the title of this episode, which I haven't come up with yet, but it's going to have something to do with generosity. Because generosity is really what we're talking about here, right? Yes, I mean, any support that I can get is beautiful. And there's bills to pay. This, area where I live is extraordinarily expensive. My wife doesn't make a lot of money. I don't charge people the way, they tell me I should charge people in like coaching, coaching programs, like coaches for coaches, right? I appeal to the working person. I appeal to the person who doesn't have thousands and thousands of dollars to spend on their own self-improvement, right? Because people with no money, sometimes need the help the most, right? So this is, that's the way that I approach this, right? Which again has something to do with generosity, right? Because I have something that I could sell for a lot more. And if I did sell it for a lot more, well, then I wouldn't need to ask for support, right? And so there's a sense of clinging that's involved in that, right? There's a sense because really what generosity is, when we talk about the three poisons, right? As you've heard me talk about this before, the three poisons of delusion, aversion, and clinging, right? These are the negative mental states that are toxic to our well-being, to our happiness. It blocks us from the conditions of our happiness, or the conditions of happiness for us, I should say. And so this clinging, right? Generosity, well, the opposite of the three poisons, what we might call the three virtues or the three elixirs, maybe. I don't know what, they don't really have a name for it. I've heard the three poisons about the negative, but the positive attribute, or the positive, counterparts are the opposite of delusion is non-judging awareness. The opposite of aversion is acceptance, and the opposite of clinging is letting go. Now, in a very real way, in at the very core of what generosity is, it's about that letting go, right? Like, I have something, I have a skill, I have information, I have talents, I have practices that I can teach people that completely change their lives. I mean, I've watched it happen over and over and over and over and over. And so there's a part of me that clings to the idea that I could profit on this. And it doesn't even need to be like a greedy kind of profit, right? It can be, although greed is a form of clinging, right? But it could be just even to say, like my family is not, we're not living the high life here. I mean, not even to live the high life though. Like we're behind on payments and stuff, right? So like it's it would be, it's very easy for me to the instinct to cling to that, to say, wait, don't give it away, charge more for it, right? And that's that clinging that generosity allows us to let go of, right? Because when I think of it in terms of, the many people out there who write me, in the comments or send me emails and tell me how much, these messages have helped you in very specific ways. And I mean, you all have like conquered demons and slayed dragons in your lives because of this work. And so when I look at it that way, when I look at it that I'm helping people that maybe don't have a lot of money, maybe you all can't afford a $5,000 coaching program. I couldn't afford it. So I know that some of you probably can, some of you must not be able to. And as many of you know, there's been some of you who have contacted me and we've worked for free, and you know that, and I'm happy to do that for any of you. And so this is, when I look at it as a means of generosity, everything changes, okay? So I'm going to give you two different quotes that are going to blow your mind, okay? And I know I've talked about these before because I've talked about generosity before because it's so important. First quote from Richard Davidson, modern neuroscientist, world-renowned. The most effective way to activate the circuitry of the brain associated with positive emotions is through generosity. That's not woo-woo, that's science, okay? Neuroscience, exhaustively derived from brain scans and experiments and studies and, autopsies and all kinds of stuff, right? I don't know if autopsies are involved with that, but now the second quote comes from what some people call, Alan Watts referred to him as the original psychologist of the world, which is the Buddha. 2,500 years ago, he said, if you knew, as I know, the power of giving, you would never let another meal pass without sharing some of it. That was not a dramatic pause. I had to take a glass of water, but it was a fitting pause, wasn't it? If you think about that, right? Like, even he knew that 2,500 years ago, and it's confirmed now in the last 20 years with actual science, with actual understanding of how you and I operate on a neuronal physiological level. We know that generosity is good for us. It's healthy for us. It promotes well-being. So that's something else that I get out of this, right? When I look at this as something as generous, I get off of these podcasts and I feel like, oh man, I feel wonderful because I've activated the circuitry of my brain efficiently with generosity. The circuitry of my brain associated with positive emotions. So I feel positive emotions. Now remember, the clinging, right? Those negative mental states, they are always going to produce negative emotions. That's why they're toxic. That's why they call them the 3 poisons, because they always produce negative mental states. And so when we let go, we're producing a positive emotional state. Now, it doesn't mean that we're bypassing anything. We're just making ourselves well. We're giving ourselves medicine. And this is why, as I'm going to share a web page with you that I created in case you all are moved to make a donation, that I tell a story on here that when you go to, say, Thailand or really anywhere in Asia, I believe, to learn Buddhism and go live on an ashram, as they call a monastery in Thailand, the last thing you're going to learn is meditation. That's the final step in the process. The first step, I'm sure you guessed it already, generosity. The second step is what they call the morals of Buddhism, which is compassion and kindness and equanimity and sympathetic joy. Learning how to, interact with others is the second step. And then the third step is learning sitting meditation, right? So you sit last, which is fascinating because here in America, it's completely the opposite. I mean, I've actually stopped teaching meditation first. I teach it in the middle somewhere, although after the kindness and all that stuff. But the point is that in America, that's what we want. Give me an app that tells me how to meditate because that's the action. No. The action is opening our hearts and letting go of that which we're clinging to. Do you know also that a tradition in Buddhism in all over Asia, and the guy who taught me, the guy who certified me to teach you, did this, right? So I know firsthand that he would go out every single day, 7 days a week, with an empty bowl. No matter rain, shine, heat, cold, he'd be out there with his empty bowl in the village where the villagers, the village next to near the the ashram, pardon me, where he lived, and he would stand there with his fellow monks with empty bowls, and the villagers would then come and put food into the bowls. In many other areas, like in other countries and stuff, it's also traditional that people will bring food to the monastery to feed everyone during an event kind of thing, right? And so this idea of giving food to the monks, right, is something. Now, they only did it for 1 meal a day, so we know they have a kitchen. Right, we know that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about washing dishes as a meditation. So we know that kitchens are very common in monasteries, right? And we know that they get money donations and stuff, and we know that they would be able to find a bulk seller of beans and rice and vegetables, and they could very, very easily, as they do for their other meals, make their meal themselves. Right? In other words, they don't need to be standing there in the rain with an empty bowl waiting for a villager to put a little bit of food in that bowl for them, right? And so what does that mean? That means that this is an opportunity for the villagers, right? The monks are practicing generosity by standing there in the rain and hoping that some rice comes or some mango. I mean, they don't hope it. It always comes. Because that's the thing. The people give their best food, right? Because the monks are providing this opportunity. They're standing there with an open bowl, an open heart, and they're allowing for the villagers to come in and practice their generosity. Or as they say in Buddhism, dana. That's the word for generosity. They're practicing dana. And so the traditions, or from what I've understood from talking to people like my teacher, the villagers will give the ripest mango to the monks. They'll give the most flavorful saffron rice to the monks. Or they take the second-rate stuff, right? Like they cook a meal to bring to the monks and then they eat the leftovers, right? Because again, generosity is not about giving away something that is excess, right? It's not about when it's convenient to give, right? It's about, maybe there's something you don't want to give, right? Like, I'm getting all this content for free. Why do I want to pay for it? And that's a form of clinging. And now here's the thing, as far as the donations are concerned, I'm not asking for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars here. I typically get, say 30 people or so that are listening at any given time. So, even if all of you gave like $5 or $10, it would be a significant amount of money for me and my family. Right? So again, though, there might be something that you want that $5 or $10 for. And that's what generosity is about. Right? Now, of course, we're not doing it in order to get something out of it. That kind of crosses a line into something else. We don't want to think of it that way. We want to think of it as letting go of something, which is ultimately good for you to let go of it. Right? Now, by no means are we talking about your last $10. No. I would never take that from you. In fact, if you tell me you only have $10, I'm going to give you $10, even though I can't afford it either, right? Because it's not about that. It's not about suffering in the service of generosity. That has nothing to do with it. It's about the healthy letting go and recognizing that we can let go. Right? Like most of the time, the things that we're clinging to that we believe we absolutely need, there's no way we could do without this, we do just fine without it. In fact, we're doing better without it because giving it away, it frees us, it lightens us, it benefits us, it makes us happy to give. Right? And we experience that all the time at Christmas and birthdays and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all the different holidays in which we exchange gifts. That's been a tradition for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The tradition is not about, what do I get this year? Right? Like a kid, right? Like, do I get a new baseball mitt this year? That's not the tradition of gift giving. Because it's not the tradition of gift receiving. It's the tradition of gift giving. So I set up this webpage that's, just a very, I tell the simple story that I just told you about the monks. And at the very bottom, there's a Venmo link. Okay. Again, I'm not asking for hundreds of dollars. I'm not asking for, I don't, and please, I'm not asking you, like, there's no selling here, right? I'm going to continue to, that's why this was, this could have been just a 5-minute video saying, hey folks, need some help. Can you help me? That's not what I'm doing here, right? I'm always going to continue to provide to you this work as long as I can. Okay. And that's, I think, what happened before is that it became something that was no longer generous, right? It felt obligatory. Okay, it felt like I was paying a bill every day instead of giving from my heart. And that's why I had to step away from it. And now these episodes, and I would love to hear from you if you agree with this, but I got to say from my standpoint, we have shifted gears. We are in overdrive now, and we are cruising with some of these episodes. I feel this content has gotten deeper and sharper and more, just incisive and beautiful. And I mean, incisive in a positive way, right? Like it gets in, I think. Anyway, that's the feeling that I have. And judging from some of the comments and I've gotten some new listeners and some new viewers, and welcome to all of you, by the way. Again, I cannot tell you how happy I am that you are here. And I cannot tell you how happy I am that all of this is going on the way it is. It's just, it's unfolded in the most beautiful way. Honestly, I really thought maybe I just walked away from it for the last time. I was not going to do any more podcasts, One person who recently found us here, told me that they used to see my videos on TikTok, and I think that's where it got to be. Like it felt just like a chore. It felt like a labor, but no longer a labor of love, right? This was like, because on TikTok, it's, whoa, man, that is wild over there. I mean, you make a video and it's like I'd be answering questions and for like all day. It was really, it would take up almost all my time. And that's where it just got to be like it was making me stressed, and it was not, wasn't, not that it wasn't fun. And I don't need it to be fun, right? I know that this is work, and there's labor involved, and that's supposed to be, right? If there's no challenge at all, it probably isn't that moving the content, right? So I'm never one to shy away from work or commitment to work. But it just, I don't know, it had a different sort of vibe to it, so maybe someday I'll get back into TikTok. I wouldn't hold my breath. I gave away my phone, so it's not looking very positive right now. Maybe I can do it here, but yeah, anyway. I don't know why I started getting into that, but anyway, I just wanted to share this with you today. Okay, yes, it's an ask, but it's a very gentle ask, and it's an ask that comes from my heart to your heart. Okay, it's not from my empty wallet to your full wallet. Okay, it's from my heart that is filled to your heart that is also filled, and I'm again, more than asking you for something, I really am giving you the opportunity to practice some generosity. Okay. And knowing that it's needed. Okay. It is. My kids need stuff, my ex-wife and I, that we still live in the same house because, economics, right? And so it's weird, that's not anything I was planning to talk about here, but it's a necessary ask that I'm doing. This is not like me who, I have, 5 cars in the driveway, private jet and stuff like that. I'm here in a basement apartment, a basement room in an apartment, recording this, right? So it's not like I'm a millionaire asking for money. Okay. I just want to be very, very clear with that. Okay. And also I'm not asking for anything that's, like I'm not expecting anything outrageous. Okay. And again, the power of numbers is what we're talking about here, right? A little bit from a few different people starts to add up very quickly. Okay? All right. So anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, thank you. And if you would prefer, if any of you out there want to do like set up a rolling monthly thing, Patreon happens to be very good at that. Or very good for that. So if that's something you want, let me know, and I'll send you the Patreon link. But I think you can probably look me up on there, Art Burns Coaching. But anyway, I'll send the web page that I'm going to link to in the description here is going to have a Venmo link, just a very simple Venmo link. Okay, and so I'm not like even $1, even 50 cents if you want. Just I'm giving you the opportunity. That's what this is. Okay, all right. So, and one last thing I want to tell you, for any of you who are still listening, which I know is not that many of you, which is cool. I'm cool with that. This is really hard for me. Okay, asking for this is really, really, really hard for me. I feel like I think I'm sweating. I'm not feeling. I do not feel comfortable asking for money. Okay, so this is something that I'm clinging to, right? Like I'm clinging to the idea that I don't want to. We're doing okay. We're surviving. I don't need the money. It's okay. I don't want it. I don't want to do it. That's a form of clinging. And so I feel better already having given this as an episode and given you the opportunity to practice Dana, generosity, which is the most effective way, most efficient or effective way to activate the circuitry of your brain associated with positive emotions. So I let you go now, and I hope you enjoy your positive emotions. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I've got an episode planned for tomorrow because my work schedule is light this week. All my hockey games were canceled this week because of the holiday week. So I have a lot of extra time this week. So I'm going to do another episode tomorrow, and I don't even want to tease you with the topic. I'll wait until tomorrow. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I wish you well. Take care.